What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hello, hello, hello. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're in here like swimwear. Hold on. Let me. What is going on here? Why is my mic jumping? I think this background music is a little too high. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Check, check, check. I feel like there's a little staticky. Hold on just a second. Yeah, there's 100% some static going on here. There we go. There we go. I don't know. It went to my webcam mic for something. That was weird, but all right, let's go. We're back. We're back today, and this is going to be the final way too early ranking stream. Um, if you haven't checked out my QB part one, part two, running back part one, part two, you should. We basically went through, ranked all the QBs, um, sort of tiered them out, and then compared to the best ball ADP. Same with running backs. We took a look and compared those. So if you want to check that out, go to my live streams and check those out. But today we're going to finish it up. And the way we're going to do that is I already did the wide receivers. There were over 100 of them, so I did those off stream. So I'm just going to recap that, show you that, talk through it a little bit at the beginning of this video, and then finish up with the tight ends. And hopefully go a little quick through those tight ends. Because tight ends are kind of a crapshoot anyway, right? So go through those real quick, and then I'll be done with this live stream. So then my way too early rankings will be done. I will be recording a video, so not a live stream, just recording a video that I will post on my channel, just kind of recapping everything really quick, going over some of the main points, some of the biggest differences in the current ADP versus my rankings, some of my thoughts, right? Won't be too long of a video, hoping to keep it 15-20 minutes. And then after that, my live streams are going to move into a little bit more of like actual content draft wise. So my plan is, to start doing some best ball drafts with these rankings. And you know, once it gets closer to the draft, I'll start looking at rookies and looking and integrate those into here, right? And have my rookie review. But start doing some best ball drafts. Start getting some content out there. Um, I got some cool ideas about my best ball drafts. So you know, that first stream, I'll kind of introduce that and talk through that a little bit more. But yeah, if that sounds cool to you, hit the like, hit the subscribe, um, and we'll be getting some cool content there. But today in this video is receivers and tight ends. So let's, without further ado, take a look at the wide receivers. These are my wide receiver rankings. And as you'll see here, the guys towards the bottom, I didn't put the ADPs for best ball in there just because once you get down here, it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like a whoever you believe in, right? But um, we'll just go tier by tier, and tier one, these are the guys who I think have a legitimate shot or will finish as wide receiver number one next year. Uh, and my rankings lined up directly with where they're going in best ball right now. And I did these rankings prior to looking at any best ball rankings. So the fact that I got 1 through 4 the exact same, um, the community's thinking the same way I am. These guys are elite. These guys have that shot. Um, it's just the way it is. So then moving down to tier two, these are guys where it's like, these are guys that you want to target as your wide receiver one. These guys are going at the very beginning of the drafts. These are the guys where, like, if you're taking a receiver in round one, this is who you want. Or if you're at the turn, right, these might be two of these guys are who you're targeting. Um, And I'm pretty close here across the board, right? I think the biggest difference is I have the two rookies on top of Nico and Amon Ra. Um, I just think their target share, like, not that Houston has many people, but like especially for St. Brown, right? Like he has Laporta, there's Gibbs, there's Monty, right? There's Jameson Williams. Like he gets his. Don't get me wrong, but like I like that these guys have such a bigger target share than him. And these rookies, like they're going into that year two jump. Jacksonville got a brand new head coach and coordinator, right? The Giants are finally going to get a quote unquote QB, rookie QB, and Neighbors just demands to be fed. So um, I think I put the rookies ahead of these guys. You know, just personally, I like the upside of those rookies. Um, and Neighbors over Brian Thomas Jr. for now, just because like the Giants have no one else. They're not doing anything else there. But they will have a rookie, so I could see, BTJ over Neighbors is totally fine with me. I just put Neighbors ahead of BTJ for now. Going into tier three, things are pretty close. The only biggest difference is I have Rashee Rice as my wide receiver 14. He's wide receiver 22 in ADP right now. Um, Best ball. I don't get that, especially because if we jump down to Xavier Worthy, I have him right at 20, where people are thinking, but like Rashee Rice is still the wide receiver one in this offense. Like he's still the guy Mahomes is gonna look at. He's still that guy who's gonna be running, finding open spaces in zone defense. He's gonna be that guy that's running that slant. Like Xavier Worthy's good, and he's not just a deep shot guy. Like they're gonna run screens for him. They're gonna run jet sweeps for him. They're gonna run him, on a slant. But like Rice is still the one, and he will get the majority of target share. Like I don't know what people are thinking that Worthy's gonna overtake Rashee Rice all of a sudden. Like he got injured. Like oh well, it happens. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be healthy, and he's still gonna be the wide receiver one in that offense. So I get there's a risk here, but I don't understand taking some of these guys ahead of him, especially Worthy. So that was a big surprise to me. Um, Jumping down to tier four. Oh, again, tier three is kind of those. Like I took Saquon at pick three or pick two, and now coming back around to me in round two, like you want one of these guys as your wide receiver one. You want one of these guys, as to be that holding down that wide receiver lane. And then tier four enters like your wide receiver two category, right? Like these guys have an outside shot of finishing as wide receiver one. Like if they did, I would be like, huh, that's interesting, but I wouldn't be too surprised. I'd be surprised if anybody down here below is finished as wide receiver one. So these guys are like wide receiver two territory, um, and pretty standard across the board. Like I hit on JSN, DJ Moore, like Xavier Worthy, like Mike Evans. Like all these are pretty close. Like I don't think there's anything too outrageous here that would make me say, whoa, what's going on there? Um, Tier five, this is entering that category of like, okay, like if you went high T, right? You went running back, running back, running back. Like these are the guys that you kind of want to target as your wide receiver one, just because like they have some upside, they have value. Um, you could get a sleeper top 10 receiver in this category. And I had a lot of big differences here. So first one right off the bat, Jaden Reed. Why does he at 35 best ball right now? I have him at 21. I don't understand. Like this guy was going early last year. Like I get that he had a down year this year for sure, but like he's still the number one in Green Bay. And I guess there's a thought that maybe they're getting somebody in free agency, but I think that helps Reed a little bit more. Um, I just think for a wide receiver one in that offense right now, like I don't understand how he could go 35. I don't know how you put some of these people in front of him. Um, like Zay Flowers, I don't know how you're drafting Zay Flowers ahead of him. Like I just don't. Um, Marvin Harrison Jr. is at 18 right now. Like we're drafting this guy ahead of Mike Evans and Xavier Worthy, and he like didn't look great, and he's not the first read in that offense, whereas Jaden Reed is. Right? And then Sutton at 32. again, first read in that offense, Bo Nix wants to chuck the ball. Like, I get he's older, but like, are we really taking a wide receiver 2 over him? You know, are we really taking Chris Olave, who got his brain scrambled? I just don't get why Jaden Reed's so low right now. I think he has insane value. Same with Cortland Sutton. Um, Same with Jalen McMillan. Like, he's going wide receiver 39 right now. 39. And he's taking over the Godwin role. Like, and speaking of Godwin, I have Godwin down here at 66. He's going 34. So I have Jalen McMillan up in tier 5 of, like, wide receiver 2 category at my wide receiver 25. And Chris Godwin at 36, but Chris Godwin's going as wide receiver 34. Why? Speaking of old, like, why is Sutton going when Chris Godwin, who's just as old, who just had a huge injury, who had Jalen McMillan pop off and show he can take over his role completely? How is he going that high? Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Do not draft Chris Godwin as wide receiver 34. I don't care how good he was before the injury. Jalen McMillan will take over that role, and you will see that happen in the offseason. I guarantee it. Might not you might get 2 weeks out of Chris Godwin. 2 weeks at the beginning of the year. Don't understand that. So jumping down to tier 6, some guys who like have some question marks, could do something, could not. Couple things that jump out to me, Adunze is getting drafted at 25 right now. I have him at 33. I could see it. I could see 25. I'm not going to argue that too much. I just think there's some guys who are a little bit more established in an offense that, doesn't just have hopes and dreams looking into it. I think I'd take them over that. So that's fine with me. Devontae Adams going at 27, though, not sure what that's about. Like, he's going to follow Rodgers. He's going to be Rodgers' buddy somewhere else. Like, I don't know. He hasn't shown anything to me that dictates he should be higher than this tier. Um, and I would definitely be drafting a lot more people over him. Um, Otherwise, everything's pretty same here. Like, nothing too egregious. Same in this tier, nothing to except Jalen Waddle. So let's talk about Jalen Waddle. Wide receiver 29, and I was just watching Fantasy Footballers this morning, their podcast, and they were talking about Jalen Waddle's a Steeler at wide receiver 39. I have him at 54, and I understand that he got paid, and I understand people think he's really good, but I need you to look at this for a second. First of all, games played 15, 14, 17, 16. He's injured. He's going to get injured. Just how it is. And like this past season, it's single digits. Like he has these weeks where it's like, oh yeah, he popped off for 28 and 20 and 16, but like single digits. 2023 regular season. He has these 2 pop-off games, but then it's single digits. 2022 regular season, a 40, a 25, a 19, a 30. Okay, this I could get more on board, but like he ain't doing this right now. 2021 regular season, heck yeah, he was popping off. But these past 2 seasons he didn't. Tyreek demands the ball. Achane has taken over. Jonnu Smith is there. Right? Like Waddle is arguably the 4th read in this offense. So I don't know what this wide receiver 29 is looking at, but we're taking Waddle over guys like, let's see, over Jaden Reed? Over Sutton? Over McMillan? Over Olave? We're taking Jalen Waddle in the same breath as like DK Metcalf. Like I don't get it. I don't get what people see in Waddle. Like he's the 4th read. Like I get he's good, and like if he gets traded, like I think his value skyrockets. But I'm not touching him at 29. Not even close. Yes, I would take Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims over Jalen Waddle. I don't think Jalen Waddle's good in the offensive scheme that they have in Miami. So I'm completely out on Waddle, and I'm completely out of Godwin. I think Pearsall is way too high too. Again, like you're kind of baking on a Debo trade or whatever, but like again, fourth, fifth read there. Um, yeah, I don't see that. But overall, these are my rankings. I'm a little higher than De'Ami Brown than a lot of people are. Same with QJ. I think De'Ami Brown's really good. I think he's going to be wide receiver two on a dynamic offense. Quentin Johnson, I think has an off chance of being wide receiver one there. Like he might be their red zone target. Um, Whittington, wide receiver two if they trade Cup, right? So like Troy Franklin and Mims are fighting for that wide receiver two in Denver, dynamic offense. So like I'm high on these dynamic offense guys that are a little, you know, younger or unproven. Then once you get down here, these are just dart throws. Like who do you like most, right? Like I don't know. Like I didn't even really think too hard about where I was putting these people. It's just like these are all guys of like who do you believe in? Who do you want to take the shot at? Who's your boy, right? Then that's who you're gonna choose here. Tier eight's a little bit more structured. I think it's a little bit more like okay, I do think these guys have a shot. They could get involved. Something could happen for them this year. Cedric Tillman, got a lot of Coker, could be the wide receiver one in Carolina. So like these are guys I think I want over these guys, but like these are still sort of dart throws, right? Like so these are my wide receiver rankings, and like I said, I'll kind of go over them a little bit more in a future video. But I don't want to spend too much time on them because we are jumping into tight ends. We are jumping into tight ends. Um, and I know before, like when I did quarterbacks, running backs, I kind of like went down the line and slotted them in and moved people around, that sort of thing. Um, for the tight ends, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, where's my tight end one? Where's my tight end two? Right? Like who do I think is the best? Who's next, etc. Um, when you take a look at last year, it's pretty clear um, that Kittle, McBride, and Bowers are kind of in this league of their own. And Kittle sneaky finished ahead of McBride and Bowers, and a lot of it has to do with these eight touchdowns. Yards were very similar on way fewer catches too. So like he was like catching it down the field and running. Like Kittle's really good. Um, so when you talk about these guys, like it's just like which one do you want more? I think it's really who's your boy, who do you like the most? And I think for me personally, it's gotta be Bowers. Like he's the guy in Vegas. Like he's their only weapon. Um, like no one else is really doing anything there. They're gonna get a rookie in there, so like there are some question marks, but like he's just the guy. He demands the targets. He gets the targets. He's all over the field. He's a freak athlete. Like I feel like Brock Bowers is what people thought Sam Laporta was last year. Like Sam Laporta was very much like touchdown dependent, and people didn't want to talk about that. Bowers is not, right? Like this guy is just like getting 153 targets. Like this guy is elite. Um, so I'm taking Bowers first out of all those. Second is Trey McBride. Again, Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, could progress a little bit, but like Trey McBride's the first read in that offense. Kyler has this connection with him. Same demanding targets as Bowers. Like he literally finished as QB2 in points per game and had 2 touchdowns. Like he's gonna get more touchdowns. He's gonna regress like to the mean there, or actually progress to the mean there. Like I had him on my teams last year. I love Trey McBride. I think it's very close between these two. Um, and then Kittle's right there at number three, right? Like this guy's a beast. Um, he's done it for a while, right? Like he's 31, but he's not slowing down. Like, the receivers are kind of young, like they're kind of some question marks around them. He's a consistency. Um, so I think when talking about the tight ends, there is the big three. This is a tier of their own for sure. Um, and I think this is the order I personally would be taking them in. Then after that, then it gets into, let's look at what happened last year and let's look at what's going to happen in the future, right? And so we think about, you know, a TJ Hawkinson who like finished down here at 17, but like, it took a little time to ramp up, has a lot of targets, but like not really a big focal point of the offense. Or like a Mark Andrews who had some stinkers at the beginning, including a double zeros, but then has these teens, right? So it's like, who do you trust more after those big three, right? And it's like, there's Sam Laporta, who kind of started slow, but then kind of got going and got some target share a little bit more towards the end of the year, right? Got some touchdowns in here. So it's like, I want guys at tight end, right? You got your big three. I think after that, you want guys who are good, obviously, right? You want good tight ends. But you also want guys who are involved in the offense. Like they demand targets, they're the first read, second read in an offense, right? And I think, not just because he's fourth in points per game here, but like David Njoku is kind of that guy, right? Like 17 target, 13 targets, 14 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets. Like this guy is getting targets. And he's arguably the best, if not the best, then definitely second best receiver on the Browns team. What worries me is it's the Browns. So we take a look at Jonnu Smith, right? It's like, okay, this guy started his career slow, but look at this guy. Oh my gosh, targets galore. So who would I rather have? For me personally, being on the Browns just knocks you down a little bit. I'm sorry, it just does. Um, Jonnu Smith's competing with Hill, competing um, with Achane, right? Still a big part of that offense. Mark Andrews very touchdown dependent. Sam Laporta has been dependent. He's competing with, Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs and all those people. So it's really like, who's competing with less here, right? Like who's competing with the least amount of people and who's the best and who's getting stuff written for him. And it's kind of Jonnu Smith, right? Like it's Jonnu Smith. Like he's a part of that offense. Like he's their red zone guy, right? And does Jalen Wright take some of that away? I don't know. But like he's that guy who they're gonna throw to in the middle of the field, right? And if Jonnu Smith isn't scoring a lot, that means either Jalen Wright picked it up or Jalen Waddle picked it up. Like one of those guys picked it up. But my money is on Jonnu Smith still staying a part of this offense, a big part of this offense, and will be a fine, tight end, for on your team. Um, after that is Njoku. He doesn't have that competition. Yes, he's on the Browns. Yes, they're gonna have a rookie. Um, but he's still kind of first read, second read in that offense, and I think they will script some plays for him for sure. And I could see him, competing with Jonnu Smith for that target heavy workload. I just knock him down because he's on the Browns. The Browns are just, I don't even know. So I think Njoku comes in there next for sure, and then I think Sam Laporta is next. still had a good year. Started out slow, but finished with those consistent teens, which is kind of what you want. I think he has the opportunity to get some more touchdowns, get some more targets. Jameson Williams does you repeat, right? So um, I think Samuel Porter's a fine tight end. I don't think he's gonna finish wide receiver one. He doesn't demand the attention that these guys do. He doesn't get the target share that some of these guys do, but like he's still a big focal part of that offense. So I think in tight end land, that's kind of what you want, right? Um, so yeah, I'll put Samuel Porter there. And then the question becomes who's next, right? Like who, like when we look at who I didn't talk about, like Travis Kelce, just slowly declining in his quote unquote relevance, right? Um, I don't think he's gonna retire, but you got Noah Gray there, right? Like, but he's still getting these targets. Like, he still has these 20-point games, right? So it's like it's hard to ignore him, but like we've been trying to guess at the Travis Kelce fall off for like 5-6 years at this point, and it's finally kind of starting. We kind of see the Noah Gray kind of pop in there, so it's hard to take him, as your tight end. Like, this is my guy. This is who this is who I'm taking, and they're gonna do good things for my team. Um, so he's there, and he has an argument, right? But then there's also Mark Andrews, who has this connection with Lamar Jackson, and it didn't start that way, but it kind of got that way. And look at it, like he doesn't have the targets, but he has the touchdowns, right? They don't have a receiver they're throwing to down there. Like, yeah, Derrick Henry can blast the ball in there. Lamar Jackson can run the ball in there. But, like, if they're throwing, they're going to target one of their tight ends. And he's their red zone guy. He's just so touchdown dependent that it's hard to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to take him, right? Um, so then it becomes, okay, let's look at Goddard. Because, like, this guy was kind of injured, right? But, like, he has these 27, this 13, 18, 11, 8, and 11 targets. Like, a touchdown here, right? 11, 12. Like, could it be him? I mean, maybe it's just you're competing against AJ Brown, you're competing against Devontae Smith. Saquon Barkley's there now, so like I don't trust him as my tight end one. I just don't. Zach Ertz, was very good this year. Um, had these big target games, but like there's Ben Sano in the back end, just kind of sitting there like, hey, what's up? It's me. Uh, Kate Otten, here's a guy who a lot of people hyped up last year and had a couple games where he did really good, but like a couple games where he didn't, right? And it's like Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, Bucky, Rashad. So, I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot in this after these. Like, this is what I mean by tight ends. Like, you got the easy tier one, you got tier two, where people are just central parts of the offense, and then it's like kind of everybody else. And I think a sneaky guy here is Tyler Higbee. I'm not saying that he's going to be in this spot, but like if you take a look at Tyler Higbee, right? He was injured for most of last year. Came back, one touchdown, very minimal, very minimal. But then that last week, got it going. And if Cup's not there, he's been with the Rams, like he's kind of got that connection with Stafford. It's a contract year, right? So I think he could be a sneaky play. Um, Kyle Pitts, I don't trust as far as I could throw Kyle Pitts, and I can't throw Kyle Pitts far. So if I was in this position, right, these guys were gone, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I need a tight end. Like, I need a guy that I can be like, okay, I'm confident as this guy being my tight end. Um, I I think the answer might be T.J. Hawkinson, and the reason is he doesn't have he's younger compared to some of the rest of these guys. He doesn't have competition at the position. Like he is the guy, right? He slow rolled on this year, but like, you know, targets were consistent. Um, I think JJ McCaffrey, is gonna need a big guy to rely on. Justin Jefferson's there. I think Addison, has his place, but this guy's a consistent teens scorer, and he didn't last year. And I think it was just because he's coming off that injury. But he's gonna have a full off season. He's gonna like. I just feel good about T.J. Hawkinson, where like some of these other guys I don't feel as good as. So this might be a little faded, but I if I look at this list, I want T.J. Hawkinson as my guy moving into the team if I had to choose somebody here. Um, I think after that, I think that's where you kind of start to put in your Kelsey's. I put Kelsey above Mark Andrews just because the target share. I do think that goes down, but I think when you're in this level of like, okay, I need a tight end, I didn't get one of the elites. Like, I think Kelsey's fine to go at. Just to make sure you're getting Gray later, later in drafts potentially. But I think that's fine, right? I think this is where I would put them. Um, looking at the rest of these, the other one that kind of sticks out to me is Evan Ingram. Um, big target share, did get injured, but like had this target share and these teens, right, and very minimal touchdowns. So I like Ingram a lot. Um, Looking at some of these other guys, let's look at Fryermuth. He's all right. He's all right. Like had a couple in the teens there, but had a lot of single digits. Doesn't get a lot of targets, so this is more of a touchdown focus. Um, Ertz is there. I think Ertz probably fits in really good with Kelsey and Andrews and Hawkinson, and is like guys who showed really good stuff last year, but like question marks around this year. Um, Tucker Craft, he was all right, but like Musgraves is coming back. Like there's so many targets in that Green Bay offense. I don't think you feel comfortable with him as your like tight end one, right? Um, so I think after these guys who you got this elite tier, right, of like elite, then you got this could be elite, then you got this tier of like okay, you know, they've been good in the past, they've shown really good stuff, like can they keep it going? And then you move into this tier of like eh, like they'll get me points. Right? Like you move into this tier of like they're sort of consistent, right? And when you start getting into that tier, I think Evan Ingram is a name that sticks out to me, as a potential target there. BTJ's taken over a lot of that passing out work, but I think Ingram still can have a role there. Um, you know, Hunter Henry's another name that sort of sticks out is like he's been around for a while and like he gets a lot of targets on this team, but he also disappears in weeks, so it's like I don't really trust him. Um, so I think Evan Ingram, I think Goddard, Ferguson's another name that I think people are gonna start to pay attention to. Like he didn't do too well last year. He did have a few injuries, missed a few weeks here and there. But I think he he is a solid play. He is a top read in that offense for the time being. Um, so I think when you're talking about Evan Ingrams and Pratt Fryermuths and Goddard's, like you got to talk about um, Ferguson. I do think Higby is like a sneaky play here though, because like he only played 3 games, but like he in the playoffs too, he did really well. He was a top read for Stafford, and with Cup gone, like I think he's there. So me personally, I'm probably gonna put Higby here. I think he's just got it right. And then I'll put Ferguson, Fryermuth, right. I think all these guys are in a very similar category. You know, after that, I think it's guys of like, okay, like who because right, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like now we're getting into players of just like who do I think has potential to pop off? Who do I think, could be a good player? Um, looking at this list, I think Kincaid is there. Like he was being drafted as a top 4, top 5 tight end um, last year, and like it didn't pan out, right? But like he's still only in like his second or third year, his third year coming up, right? And like, yeah, we wanted to see more out of him, but I still think he could be a weapon for Josh Allen. So I think taking him in a flyer down here is the right place for him. And up here wasn't ever the right place for him, but I think a flyer down here for sure. Um, and then looking at this list a little more, Hunter Henry, not a lot of competition in that offense. Gets targets, but I don't think has pop off potential too much, right? Like he did finish 15th last year, but like he's just this guy who's like kind of floored at mid-teens. Like he doesn't, unless he's scoring a bunch of touchdowns, he's not really. He's racking up receptions, right? So it's like I'm not super excited about him, but like just based on the consistency, he deserves to be there. Same story with Kate Otten. I think that's a good tier for him. Um, he did finish 11th last year, but like I think he was kind of much worse than that. Kraft goes in there, kind of same story type thing with them. You know, Gesicki, another one where if T. Higgins leaves, like he could fill that role very well. And Gesicki had some pop off, right? Like 27, right? Nice, 18. Like he had some pop off there. Um, and if T. Higgins is there, they got to throw it to somebody. It might not be Yoshibas, right? So like I think Gesicki, if like honestly, I would probably put Gesicki up here. Like I would want that pop up potential ahead of some of these guys. Um, no, Isaiah Likely is another one where he's super involved in Baltimore, and he's their tight end not in the red zone. So I think that involvement gets him here. Um, Cole Kmet, another one where like it's a high powered offense. What could he do in that Ben Johnson offense? So I think there's some potential there that wasn't there before. So I like him a lot there. And then you start getting these guys where it's just like, do you really want these guys, right? Like Kyle Pitts, Again, rookie Q, not rookie, but like pretty much rookie QB has been hyped up. Like he's kind of a flyer down here. You're not really taking him. Um, Jawan Johnson, Noah Fant, these guys who are just like, heck yeah. Yeah. Like Conklin, um, Noah Gray. I like Theo Johnson a lot as a very sneaky play here. Like I would probably put Theo Johnson a little higher than a lot of other people. Like I'm probably putting him up here. Like I think Theo Johnson's really good. Um, Dalton Schultz is like, eh. I think Jatavian Sanders might be a sneaky play here. Ben Sano, Luke Musgraves. I think Will Dissly gets phased out. I'm just kind of putting people in at this point. You know, tight end's such a crapshoot that like once you like these guys probably aren't getting drafted down here, so it's like I don't really want to spend a lot of time on them, right? So when we're talking about tiers, I think it's very simply these three in a tier of their own, basically wide receiver ones, right? Like will get you a ton of points. These are the guys if you're going early tight end you are looking for. Um, the next tier I think is I want a solid tight end realm, right? Like I want a guy I know is going to get me points that I can depend on, that I won't have to be searching on the waiver wire to do stuff with, right? And like I think that's this tier, that's this like middle ground tier. If I didn't get one of the early tight ends, but I want a solid tight end, so I'm going to get one of these guys. Um, then you got tier 3 of like I waited and I want a guy who I know is going to like be involved and like get me something, but like I also know I might have to pivot. And I think that's these guys, right? And like if we count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Like so like this is 12. And if you're playing in a 12-man league, like these are the guys who are going to be drafted or should be drafted, I should say, right? Like and then you get into this next tier of like essentially this is the tier of I drafted one of the guys here, and so I need a good secondary option who like might have a chance at popping off. And like that's like this whole tier. Like this is this whole tier of like this is my tight end 2. This is my, stash just in case my main guy doesn't work out. This is my, I waited and someone got a backup tight end and now I need to smash like 3 tight ends in my best ball. Like that's this tier. Right? Like that's and then you got almost the final tier. It's not technically the final tier, but the final tier of just like these are names that I can grab. Oh, hold on. Like these are names that I can grab who like might do something. Right? They're like these guys might do something. They might not, but they might do something. And then you got tier 6 of if these guys are on your team, you either know something I don't or are in big trouble. I think that's kind of where I'm at with those. So, um, this is the list, right? Again, no rookies, right? I think some rookies will make a play up here, but um, this is what I got. So let's see. Let's see what they got here. Uh, Brock Bowers 1, Trey McBride 2, Kittle 3. So just how I have it. Laporta's at 4. Interesting. Okay. TJ Hawkinson at 5. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Mark Andrews at 6. Interesting. They do not have faith. Travis Kelce at 7. Jonnu Smith at 8. I think there's value there. I think there's big value. Njoku at 9. Big value right there. You can wait on a tight end a little bit in best ball right now, and I think you'd be okay. Um, Njoku at 9. Goddard at 10. Tucker Kraft at 11. Interesting. They have a lot more faith in Tucker Kraft than I do. Musgrave's there. Uh, is that Kincaid at 12? Evan Ingram at 13. So they do not like Ertz. Likely at 14. I think that's a little too rich for Likely, personally. Ferguson at 15. Pitts at 16. I think that's a little too rich for Pitts. And at 17. Freiermuth at 18. Cole Kmet at 19. Hunter Henry at 20. So I don't think Ertz is getting re-signed. Interesting. Ertz at 21. It's interesting. I might have to rethink that one then. Uh, Schultz at 22. Tavian Sanders at 23. Noah Gray at 24. Where is Higbee? Oh, he's 25. Interesting. So they don't think Gesicki's coming back either. Um, all right, I guess. I guess I'm not. I don't know why Higbee's this low. Like, I think there's some value to be had at tight end in best ball right now. Like, Gesicki and Ertz, okay, I get that they're like questionable to come back, so like that definitely knocks them down a little bit. Like, I'm just assuming they're gonna stay. Um, but Higbee at 25 seems like a big old steal right here. Um, I think Likely's rich, Kraft's rich, Pitts is rich. Um, I think Jonnu Smith and Njoku are value. So it seems like this middle ground tight end has a lot of value outside these top three, which could be interesting. All right, well that completes it, right? Like we got QB done, running back, receiver, tight end. Um, we got the whole rankings. So, like I said, I'm gonna probably record a video here tomorrow. I haven't done any video recording or editing or anything, so it might take a little bit of time. But I'm gonna record a little video going through my rankings, um, talking about some key things, talking about the tiers, that sort of thing. Um, I'll post that on my channel, obviously, and then the next live stream will be getting into actual best ball drafts, which I'm excited about. I'm going to be drafting on Underdog for the first time this year. Um, and I think for the first live stream, I'm definitely just going to throw a couple best balls in there for sure. Won't do anything out of the norm of just drafting what I think I should draft. But after, and then in that video or in that live stream, I will talk about my plans for upcoming live streams, uh, which will involve a little bit of different strategies, implementing different strategies into my best ball drafts, and how those strategies are decided will be left up to chance, let's say. So, a little sneak peek of what's to come. Um, if you like talking best ball, you like talking fantasy, you want to see me do some best ball drafts, you want to see me update these rankings, you want to see me do mock drafts, once it gets into actual fantasy football season, like, subscribe, stick around, thumbs up, appreciate you.